What is going on, garden fans? Welcome back to the Permaculture Homestead. I'm at the home site today, and in today's episode I'm going to bring you along the journey as I do a complete chop and drop of this entire food forest. Is it about this time of year, Labor Day here in Zone 8, South Carolina, that this place starts looking really overgrown? The passion fruit vines are starting to overtake things. The understory shrubs are starting to get a little overgrown. I've got muscadine vines starting to climb over the place. And really this place is looking thick and dense. It is definitely one of the strategies here to be chopping and dropping a few times a year to keep the main crops doing their thing. Now, to prep this out, I have let my chickens roam through the food forest for the past couple of weeks, and they have gone through and basically eaten up all the ground cover weeds that have been growing here. They've also kind of messed up the swales a little bit, so I'll be cleaning those up. But my basic goal for today is to get this place looking a little bit cleaner as we come into fall. Now, if you've been following me for a while, I am definitely gotten to the point that I have been hoping for so many years. I have a thick, dense overstory of main crop trees, and then I've got an understory of nitrogen fixing shrubs, support species that help out. And honestly, my home site is basically at a set it and forget it kind of place. I really like how it is. I come through here a couple times a year to chop and drop. I let the chickens come through and do their part in fertilizing, breaking pest cycles, and eating up the weeds. And then my favorite part, I harvest. And that's about all I need to do in my home site all year. So I'm gonna go ahead and suit up, garden fans, get chopping and dropping. And I will bring you back out here in just a second to show you what the finished product looks like. So let me give you one more broad look at the whole place. I really want to be at a point where I can start planting out my fall garden today. So let's see how well this goes. We'll be right back. Welcome back, garden fans. After 2.5 hours of chopping and dropping and then mowing, I've got a yard that looks manageable now as we come into fall here in Zone 8, South Carolina. Now, I want to really quickly kind of touch on what I've done here. Before I chopped down, you couldn't even see that we had 3 plants here. I've pulled down all the passion fruit and the wild muscadine vines, and you can clearly see now that we have 3 distinct plants. We have the centralized apricot tree, a nitrogen fixing elaeagnus, which is the temporary plant, and then we've got the long-term anchor shrub species, the pineapple guava. So you can kind of start to see now that I've cleaned it up a little bit that we actually do have guilds of plants out here. Another big major change is me really chopping down this elderberry hedge here. I love elderberry. I am pretty aggressive with the pruning of elderberry because they are so hardy here in Zone 8, South Carolina. I've chopped down all of these elderberry down to about 4 feet. And what that does really is kind of start to give me a little more solar exposure to the back of my house. It's going to be a little warmer. It'll keep me a little warmer as we come into fall. It's also going to get a little more airflow to prevent mildew and all the other blight from getting to my trees here also as we come into fall. I plant very densely here, garden fans. You can clearly see I have a pawpaw. We have a peach right here. We have a fig, black mission fig, and then on the other side of that there is a mulberry. So I plant very thick and very dense here, garden fans. I have a tree about every 6 feet apart. So pruning is definitely high on my list of things to do out here every year. Let me give you a couple more angles of this as I walked through. Now, I do have one pathway that kind of walks around the whole food forest. It gives me access to everything. We have pomegranate right here that's been pruned down, and it also has this elaeagnus living underneath it. So as I kind of prune the elaeagnus down, that liberates the pomegranate to kind of grow up a little more. And pomegranates are looking good. In another month or so, these should be ready to go. I think if we get another couple good rains, these will start to turn color on me. On the back 9 here, same story with the elaeagnus. In fact, I've pruned all my elaeagnus down to about 4 or 5 feet tall. These are nitrogen fixing sacrificial species here that I use as chop and drop mulch plants. This nitrogen fixer is supporting not only this pawpaw patch here, but also the peach tree right next to it. And here again, these 2 trees are about 6 feet apart. Runners, I have pawpaw runners coming. All these runners are actually my spring stock to be selling. So keep in touch. If you're not already, please subscribe and keep in touch. Come springtime, we will be selling pawpaw runners, which generally do pretty well. Here's another pawpaw here. I am allowing, here's another shrub species. This is winged sumac that will put on a drupe that I can make a lemonade drink with. These sumac here are kind of the central, are protecting a centralized jujube here. And now this jujube tree here has gotten very, very tall. We're talking over 20 feet at this point. What I really need to focus on next season is trying to get a little bit of spread between this Y here. And I'll probably be putting boards to kind of separate this Y just a little bit, just to create some space. Also here again, here is more Elaeagnus that's been pruned down. I've basically pruned down all the Elaeagnus back here. There, Elaeagnus, more Elaeagnus multifloria. These are all support species for black mulberry and everything else. And really, garden fans, got the back 9 all cleaned up. This place looks a lot less overgrown, but still very tight. As I walk into the canopy of this place, I'll give you a couple of looks at how dense it is. I mean, this really is a dense suburban food forest. You can see we got a tree every 6 feet with the shrub species living underneath it. Here is the Towerton Bay bush. Thank you, Chris Towerton, for supporting. Still kicking, still alive, doing good. And really, I have, like I was saying, I have one pathway that goes around the whole food forest for access, with smaller access trails along the way. Let me give you a good close-up look of some of my favorite seasonal caterpillars here. This is the Gulf fritillary, and they are the caterpillar that lives on the passion fruit. Passion fruit is the host plant for the Gulf fritillary, and they will eat up the leaves. They will then pupate for about 8 to 13 days, and they will become beautiful orange and black butterflies that will fly south for the winter to Florida. When they're done in Florida, they'll fly back north and lay eggs in the spring, summer here, and we'll have babies in the summer, fall. So we made the full loop, garden fans. I really appreciate you sticking around for this whole thing. If you have any questions about permaculture in general, please just ask. As always, give this video a thumbs up. Please like, share, and subscribe. That's what really helps us out. Thanks for coming. God bless.